welcome to Battle 4 of the Bugeater GT. If you saw the Bugeater overview video, you would have seen that I was interviewing Paul. That's going to be my opponent here. He's playing a British Ghurka list, and I do have it here with me. I'm just going to show a few pictures of his models and a couple pictures as we go along of his stuff. But Paul is pulling 17 order dice, so he's got the second highest to my French at the tournament, where I had 18. And he's got a second lieutenant. He's got it's a regular infantry section, just 5 men. He's got a 8-man Ghurka section, which you don't know what Ghurkas are. They have they're tough fighters. They're veteran. They have a rule called Scary Blighters, and that rule is it halves all close combat attacks against them. That is brutal. So now my cavalry can't do squat to them, and it's not like if they're on the charge or anything. It's just straight up in every round too. Which doesn't make sense with the narrative in the thing, but that's the rule. And Paul did a great job of getting some really nice models and painting them up. If you look at the bases and the paint jobs and the hats and the everything, look pretty sweet. So he's got a medic, regular. He's got a forward air observer, that is regular. Free observer. He's got, that's artillery. He's got 2 more 8-man Ghurka sections, and he's got a medium machine gun, a medium mortar, a sniper, an anti-tank rifle, a 6-pounder gun, because this is a 2 platoon. Hey, no, never mind, don't matter. A 6-pounder gun, which I don't have a whole lot for him to shoot at, and 3 trucks, and an LRDG armed truck. So he's rocking out a pretty sweet list. Yeah, Ghurkas are OP, if you've never figured that out, if this is your first time you're ever watching. But I have the challenge of trying to show that they are not. I have to shoot him with howitzers, or I don't have much of a chance. So anyway, we're going to get to the scenario in the battle report right now. So I start with the 2 units of single leaves on the board and a light mortar. I have to bring my howitzers on the board in first wave, and these 2 big rock outcroppings on the left and right, tournament organizer said at the very beginning of the whole tournament they are impassable, so you can't climb over them or anything. You can work your way around them through the trees, but they're impassable. So it's an interesting board. I've got a rock wall runs along the wall on the left side, on the far side, and then so yeah, otherwise it's pretty much the same, other than it's pretty much the same other than that wall. We did say at the beginning of the game that these little fences around these little cottages were hardcover. I probably should have said they were soft. I mean, it benefits either one of us. We both have a lot, but we said hardcover. Hardcover in those 4 little sections, and then everything, because the rest of the board is so open. There's not a whole lot of other places to be. So I don't have much of a plan to deal with these Ghurkas. Paul's starting to play some of his infantry. He ends up moving that one out of the house back a little bit because he got to measure from the token and from my units. So I've got that light mortar just kind of pushing things back. And or do we play the wall soft? Maybe, I don't remember. But so yeah, there's not a whole lot of places for Paul to be. He's got some very, very dangerous infantry though, and they can start already on the board, and they can start basically behind some stuff. So it's going to be difficult. I'm already envisioning, barring a like him getting a 1 with his airplane and me being able to destroy a unit of Ghurkas, I don't think, and a howitzer or mortar strike on one of his Ghurka units. I'm already, and I don't like doing this, but me and Paul are neck and neck. I think he's 5 points ahead of me in this points. John Stentz, who I played in game 1, who gave me the minor loss. Him and Paul had played to a draw. I know that my other 2 games I got a major. So starting day 2, I'm sitting at 45 points of a possible 60. So that's not too shabby. And if because Paul got 2 majors and a draw, so he's sitting at 50. And John is sitting at 50. Wait, let's see. Yeah, so John's sitting at 50. No, let's see. John would have 20 for a major, 30 for the draw against Paul, and 45. I have 45, 2 majors and a minor, and whatever. We're all within 5 to 10 points of each other. So I don't want to get a minor to knock myself out of any possible chance. I would need help if I get a draw against Paul. I would need help in paint score, which his stuff looks great. Sportsmanship, that ain't gonna happen because Paul is like Paul, on top of his charming British accent, he is a very chill player, very, very nice. And so I need battle points, but you know, you never know who Paul is gonna face in the next game. And then there's always John, who's actually got the inside lane on the horse race for the overall. John, I think the only thing that's going to hurt his army is that his Ghurkas weren't really Ghurkas. They were just British troops that he kind of added little things to. I think John, although both lists are tough, I think John was very streamlined. So I don't know. So it's still neck and neck, and anything can happen. So I don't have a lot to do turn 1, other than I'm going to be bringing some stuff in. And we have almost equal order dice, and I have not faced that yet in this tournament. So if you're looking at Paul's displacement, here he's got unit of Ghurkas, a light mortar, unit of artillery observer, and an air observer, and I think a lieutenant in that little soft cover middle ground there. Then he's got a 5-man unit of regulars or he just put the order dice on. And then he's got an anti-tank rifle, a unit of Ghurkas, and a sniper. So off the board, he's still got some trucks and an LRDG truck. So there's a little gap in that fence there. These guys go running. That's a Ghurka squad. So yeah, it's not taking them very long at all to get to where they're going to be getting into these houses, and they're going to be, you know, coming out and doing whatever. I know he has an airstrike, and I might as well as figure, here, I'm going to throw up the sacrificial lamb of the armored car. If he wants to call the airstrike on it, I can hope for a 2 or a 3, and it be delayed, and drive it further into his lines. If he rolls a 1, that would be outstanding. And obviously if he blows it up, then it blows up, but he's going to do that anyway. I can... The armored car wouldn't do much against Ghurkas, a medium machine gun. What will do stuff is howitzers, and I actually have my medium mortar runs into the field. I start bringing a howitzer in. I need to get a first dice on the next turn in order to try to zap these those Ghurkas in that little courtyard. But it also gives me a nice field of fire. I can't fire indirect within 24, so I got to keep that in mind. If he occupies these houses right here, I mean, even at short range, I'm hitting on 5s, and I can't shoot a whole lot of indirect. I don't have any spotters. That's probably the stupidest thing I did for my list. I'm running an experienced squad in here. Just gotta, you know, fill some bodies into the zone. I need to keep him back enough for a turn 6 where I can just keep things within 3 inches of the token, because you only count it at the end of the game. It doesn't flip control and then flip back. If I don't remember. I don't think so. But I need to make sure. I just know I need to keep stuff in the area that token. I've got those 2 Singhalese squads in the houses, and my light mortar here has been taking a lot of shots from all his stuff that didn't really have anything else to shoot at. They're still fine. So here comes a cavalry squad. I don't know where I'm gonna go, other than I'm kind of thinking at this point I can't run over that fence or that hedge, so that's what's gonna slow me down a little bit. I'm planning to come in, and at the time I'm thinking I'll head back towards where his sniper is, and if I could get some of his assets to just stop and deal with me, then that would be acceptable. I've got a lieutenant on a horseback here. I do have my +2 lieutenant on foot right over there by them. I'm just trying to get my stuff on, and then, well, I actually have to. Everything else I have is in first wave, so it's not like I can hold it back. But I know he's got an artillery barrage, and I know he has an airstrike, and that's really the most powerful things about those things, other than you can airstrike and eliminate a unit, is that it controls deployment. If we didn't have those, I probably would be mushing a lot of my stuff up in the center between these two houses. I do have a little tree stand here with some rocks, a little set of 3 rocks. So I probably would be, but I got my guns spaced out, probably, you know, enough where they can't get double hit by any kind of particular strike. I'm using these housing lanes. He can't move and then fire a artillery or a air strike, so I'm keeping my stuff out of his field of vision where I'm still trying to give myself some shots. And then I'll just get my single use going down in the buildings. So we're pretty much going to be finishing up turn 1. We got a little bit of a late start in that I did the interview with Paul, and things started. We were just chatting, and we were chit-chatting, and I'm like, what time do we even start? And Paul's like, yeah, man, like 15 minutes ago. And I'm like, ay, sorry, man, because we already have the most amount of orders. So here comes the Hawker Hurricane, comes in on the airplane, on the armored car. He doesn't help me out by rolling like the little weak one. He hits the ground attack aircraft and blows it apart, which I knew that was going to happen. Not a surprise, but you know, I'd rather have him take that out than some of my other assets, honestly. That little Panhard Recce car is a neat little add to my army, and I am very happy that I did include it, because it gives you a lot of little options with the Recce and stuff. So here we're going to start turn 2, and it goes to Paul. So that gives him, he's got things he can't just go bonkers either. I mean, I do have enough assets to, if he makes a mistake and I get some decent dice. So he's going to call in his artillery barrage right there. That I could, I do have 18 attacks in close combat with my cavalry. If I catch him flat-footed in the road, I would go first, so that would be 9 attacks. If I could kill 3 Ghurkas, like on a good roll, I mean, it could change the combat. I mean, it's still win, but then I've got it. Yeah, it's not a good thing. But I've got lots of extra infantry squads. I've got dangerous things still. Even though he's Ghurkas, I still have dangerous things. And he can't just run into the open ground and stand there for 4 turns. I'll make him pay for that. So I start off on my side. I go ahead and he had taken a pot shot at that mortar, I think, with his artillery observer or air observer. No, he dropped that as a token. So I back my light mortar up 6 inches. I plink a shot at something of his. I miss though. My plucky little light mortar team. He moves this squad behind the house here. He's not quite out of my mortar, but he's out of sight of my howitzer. He couldn't come too far to this side because you can see I've got a howitzer right there, and so he's gonna. I think Paul comes over and checks some line of sight. He's got a Ghurka squad there. I think they move into that house No, they didn't. So I feel like I'm playing a high stakes game of chess here with Paul. Although I'm trying to play fast because I started 15 minutes behind due to my. Well, I got a long range shot with mortar on this Ghurka squad, and I actually got a 6. And then I rolled a freaking 1. I did 1 pin, nobody died. I needed that to be a 5 or a 6 with the +2 penetration, kill off 3 or 4 guys. But I'm zeroed in on a 2-up, and I don't know if Paul has activated or not yet. But that was one of those things I'm talking about where my list can be very dangerous. You saw that shot; it was sitting like right at 55 inches. I could see those guys. You only need to see a few. You don't need to worry about hard cover the majority of the unit. And I got a nice hit, but it didn't pay off. Here, infantry squad, I'm just inexperienced. Everyone's moving away from that artillery token as much as I can. Running an inexperienced squad up to this wall. So I can't get. We had talked about the assaulting at the beginning of the game before we started because I knew it would be important, and we had determined that you can assault. Let's see, what did we say? Yeah, because you can assault 6 inches out of a house, but then we had said that you could assault 12 inches because you can run out of a house. So you can assault 12 inches out. Yeah, but I remember. But anyway, we were on the same page. There's nothing more worse than a game where you kind of have one thought and the other person has another, and there's a rules query difference. I'm just moving my anti-tank rifle up. I know he still has a couple minor assets off the board. He's got that very sweetly painted LRDG truck. It's got a porty light anti-tank gun on the back and like 2 medium machine guns. That's a steal for the points that it costs, and it's wrecky and it looks awesome. Paul's list has no tank. His anti-tank assets is an anti-tank gun and anti-tank rifle. And it's a medium anti-tank gun, and then that LRDG truck, which that's a really neat list. I'm surprised Paul didn't run into some trouble. He does that airplane too. Because I think he faced like I faced the game 5 as a Soviet player with a heavy howitzer tank. I know Alan O'Sullivan was running a 2 Sherman list, so that I was hoping that those things would kill some Ghurkas, but I don't know if you faced Alan or not. But so I'm just I didn't have any shots with my howitzer there in the middle, so I just go ahead and move it a little farther away from the artillery barrage. I probably should have just sucked it up and moved up into the middle even more. I know that's where it's going to go, but I know that's where things have to go. But I didn't have a shot at all, so I figured, what the heck, I'll just move. So here comes a reserve LRDG truck. And I've just been kind of talking as we've been doing some maneuvering here. I'm pretty sure you guys can see that there's not a lot of big activity. Now I do have my Lorraine carrier in, and then on the turn 2 it drove over the wall. It's a fully tracked vehicle, so it can drive over the wall. I don't have a huge plan for it, actually, other than I know that he can't hurt it with rifles. So here I come here, I take a little bit of a gamble. Before I move there, I told Paul, as long as I'm making sure he understands that as long as I'm 4 inches away from him, I'm going to be able to recce farther than his charge range, as long as I'm actually more than 3 inches away. So, we measure to the door, not from the porch, and move up there. I know he's got a Ghurka squad over in this, over by this house. So I just kind of come up there, and then He's got that. That's his little 5-man regular squad. I have, I think, an ambush that I trigger, and I actually hit. So my howitzer on ambush goes to a fire order, triggers, and I kill not a Gurkha squad, but I do kill the 5-man regular squad with a ambush howitzer, and that's the plan in the middle. And that's kind of where I should have moved that other one or left it in the center, because they're just so dangerous. And that was a shot with hard cover, because I know that burning wreck is there, and then the wall. But that's the danger of moving in front of howitzers. I'm hoping, even though that was a regular squad, that will make Paul think even more, because he's not occupying. He didn't occupy that house on the top right. I think he's worried that if he does, I'm going to get a 5 or a 6 and kill them. Here the air artillery barrage comes in, or no, actually fails to come in, and he moves it over, and he moves it there. So that's annoying, tracking along, trying to get my artillery. Then we're going to start turn 3. I left my Singhalese down because he'd been putting a lot of shots on them with various things. And when the airplane actually came in, that it put multiple pins on them. So that's probably the one thing I did wrong with that thing. I shouldn't have drove it near my head. But I don't care. I mean, I don't really care that much. I'm just planning to have my Singhalese stay in there and be annoying. So Paul activates and fires at my cavalry with that unit of Gurkhas that are in there. Or, I mean, tries to assault them. We check, I'm more than 4 inches away, and I wreck you back there. So now he's right outside this house, as tight as he can be, to minimize any artillery against him. So, there's the Gurkhas. I did wreck my cavalry. I put a little marker on there to remind myself so I don't wreck them again with all these turns. And that's okay if I can just make him pay somehow for being kind of in the open. He's wedged right up against that house, though, so there's not a whole lot. I moved this howitzer over. Probably was a little too soon on that one. Not that I had anything to shoot at, but now Paul knows I can't shoot with it. I should have waited on that one. Here he is firing at my inexperience behind that wall over there, and he's able to pick off a couple guys, but they stay in the fight. I do have a lieutenant on horseback in the middle, and I have a lieutenant in the wheat field over there. Here he's put some more shots on my Singhalese and gets me back up to 3 pins, I believe, because I stayed down. I went down and stayed. Actually, I tried to rally, went down, so I stayed down. Being in the turn, that removes 1 pin. So here comes his forward observer with I think a submachine gun and a pistol, or maybe something like that. 2 rifles actually, and he shoots at my light mortar. My blessed light mortar has taken actually quite a bit of fire. And I'm trying to fire with the mortar and that howitzer. I don't know what my target was exactly. No, the mortar fired at that same squad. He's actually moved this little 1 Gurkha squad back and forth in this courtyard a little bit to break my lock. I bring this down here. I can't see anything that it can be assaulted at. It being assaulted would be bad because I have an inexperienced squad in it, so they'd have to jump out, fight a close combat. Obviously, they would die. But as far as small arms go, they're pretty much impervious to that. So I'm basically bringing my own wall to the fight. If I put it in the right spot and he blows it up, I can maybe use it as a defended obstacle for close combat or just to block line of fire. I bring this inexperienced squad on an advance order. I don't have every rifle in the shot, but movement, inexperience. I'm manning the wall, so now I don't take and I actually pick off a Gurkha. Every Gurkha counts. So he's got a his he's just moving his little minor stuff around, like his artillery or air. One of each. He's got those little teams, and those are important for this scenario because they just need to have a unit within 3 inches. So we both have quite a few things to feed into the battle. I moved my anti-tank rifle up mainly because I wanted to get it on the other side of the wall, because like what I think Paul's doing is he's starting to move that stuff towards the token, and it'll give me something to feed in there as well if I need to. I come out with these guys, and it's probably a mistake. I didn't put a medium machine gun on my Lorraine carrier. I did regret that quite a bit. But I've got such a good shot on those Ghurkas, and they're so dangerous. I just need to try to put some fire down on them. So I come out, I make sure I stay more than 12 inches away. I do measure, I'm at long range, that's fine with me. Better to be at long range than him assault and kill them. I'm able to get another hit on. I don't think I kill anybody, but that's another pin. I mean, it's not gonna, the pins won't matter if it's an assault order, and there's a unit of inexperience and a unit of Senegalese that he's able to kill if he wants. But I'm just trying to pick off bodies. If he assaults my Senegalese, I'll have 12 attacks going Simo. I should be able to kill 4 mathematically, needing 5s and 6s, and get that squad down to a manageable level so I can fight it with other things, like that cavalry unit that's lurking around behind there. That's my plan, anyway. So here I come out with this lieutenant, and I don't know exactly why. Oh, what I'm thinking. I think what I'm thinking is I'm going to. I'm setting up a next turn where I can be bold with some of my stuff. If he tries to assault the cavalry, they can wreck you away, and that'll leave him standing flat-footed in another spot. His LRDG truck comes around and headshot at my cavalry. I think he might have picked off a guy. And then he's wanting to fire his anti-tank gun at my lieutenant, but he's got a squad right there, so he's not within it. He doesn't have an inch gap. It has an anti-tank rifle, so they fire at my inexperience and miss. And yeah, just got some pot shots going on. You can see I got my other cavalry unit up there on the roadway, and they've got a lot of places to go. I don't know what I'd really like to do is move them around behind this house and just start causing havoc, but he put that unit of Ghurkas behind the house there on ambush, and that kind of sucks. I would rather have come around the other way and start causing some hate and discontent. No matter who you are, when your stuff starts getting run down and run over, you start to allocate assets to stopping that. That usually just happens. So I do move them up there. I'm just threatening the center. I feel like we're playing quickly, but there is a time constraint on these games, and just even though we're trying to play quickly, we're looking at the time. We're catching up, but it's going. So this inexperienced squad advances over. I want to get more rifle shots on, and I get hit, but I don't kill any Ghurkas, and that's unfortunate. So I moved that flame out of the way so we can see some line of sight. Because he's thinking about moving that Ghurka squad, I think, into that courtyard. You want to know what he had for cover, or as far as line of sight. Yeah. So, looks like the Ghurkas are coming in to where the Senegalese are. And I was able to kill a few, I believe. But that's a problem. That's a problem. So he's got his little guy there. He actually rolls great. 2 rifle shots. He gets 2 hits and kills 2 guys. Fortunately for me, I passed my check. I didn't recce from that. I was saving my lieutenant for something else, and so now that sucks. So now I can take an anti-tank rifle shot at them. So he moves them. He has to move them over a little bit, so they take the movement. He misses there. Fighting my single team movement. Yeah, so I survived that, but that's not good. Here I'm finding some stuff. I got this single E squad in there, and I do remove a pin. On a pass, and again I've got like a 1 window there. I can fire a couple things out, and I don't do squat. I might have picked off one of the artillery observer guys, but Paul passed. So then I've got an inexperienced squad that comes over the thing there. I'm just firing. I got a couple shots at his sniper. I actually pick one off, needing a 7, but he passes his check. But that's good. At least he's down to the last one. Here I go ahead and go behind this house on a recce, and he hits me with a 6 with his freaking medium anti-tank gun. Yeah, so that would have been an ugly shot. A recce, and he hits me. Single team or small team, hard cover, hits me. So his sniper fails his check. Well, that's good, because of my magical 7. And then he's got, I think that's my light mortar team. They end up dying off from another this like 2-man team, hit with a rifle, killed 1 guy. I'm inexperienced and I fail because my lieutenant's gone now. So I picked off 2 order dice there. Here I go ahead and I realized I should probably have a squad in there. So that one that got shot up a little bit with a pin marker still on them, they pass and they run into the Lorraine carrier because it hasn't moved this turn. And yeah, we're just doing some posturing. I need to have a hit, and here I do hit these guys with my howitzer in that field back there. Indirect shot, rolled a 6, and I kill them all. And then as we start this next move, Paul says, oh, you need to be able to see those guys. And I look on the side of that building, and there's no window on the side of that building. And I feel bad. I'm like, oh, shit, yeah, you do need to be able to see your target to fire indirect. And I don't see a window or even a hole on that side. I know we had talked earlier about the back side. Paul had asked me, are there any windows over there? I said no, because I have some direct shots with these howitzers. And I kind of said, do you want to reset it? And Paul said, no, let's just troop on. So I did give him an apology on that. I don't know what I could have switched that 6 to. I can't really see much of anything, but we just play on. I don't think it would have been. And I've got the entire. It looks like a victory parade coming down this street of my troops. I've got 3 inexperienced infantry squads, a Lorraine carrier, and a cavalry troop coming down this road like there's no British even around. He moves his Ghurkas around, decides not to go into that house. He moves them around. Need to be within 3 of the token. But they do fire a few shots at my cavalry, and I don't recce because I need to be threatening. I do have that destroyed armored car as hardcover, so I don't recce. But with his movement and the hardcover, he needed 6s to hit. I don't even think he scored a hit. So go ahead and move them onto that token there and fire some cavalry carbines, and just basically trying to be on it first, mainly to screen him off so he can't get in a position where I can't get within 3 without being an inch away from him, because I can always run away, and I don't know what I'm doing, honestly, just stalling. This LRDG truck comes around. I do have something on ambush, this howitzer back here. I trigger that, I fire, and I miss. And that's where I say, well, if you're going to go there, I would have hit you, because then you wouldn't have the hard cover. I had hard cover at that point, so I said, yeah, Paul's like, yeah, you're right. So I'm going to stop right there where I had the hard cover. And he's going to hit that inexperienced squad with some machine guns. Pick off 3, not enough for a check. So that's what we're looking at there. And so I do, Paul's picked off quite a few of my NCOs with different shots. I run this inexperienced squad into this building. If he wants to go in there to kill me with his Ghurka squad that's closest to the token, that's fine by me. I don't think he will, because he's going to be able to get that Ghurka squad onto the token. And there's really nothing I can do, barring a howitzer shot, to stop them. Which I can't shoot direct, because one, I've got a bunch of stuff in the way, and 2, it's getting to the point where it's going to be within inside the minimum range. So we start pulling dice for the next turn, and this is really going to be our last turn. And we start to play it, and we got a couple plays at first. That Ghurka squad dying in the house from the howitzer kind of hurt, but I mean they could have did a combo where because I've got 2 cavalry squads in there, one on this side of the house and the one right in the middle. He could have come out and ran off a cavalry squad, because I would have recce'd away from it. The other Ghurka squad could have put an assault order on the other cavalry, and I would have had to recce away. And then I would have just put my guys within 3 inches of the token, because I would have. I don't know if you have to. Actually, I probably wouldn't. I don't know. I think what I would have done with the cavalry on the token, if he assaulted them with the squad in the courtyard, I would have recce'd towards his LRDG carrier, and I would have gone down here on the road by this across from this little well, and then he would have had to complete the charge away from the token. That way, even on a 6-inch consolidation move, he wouldn't have been able to completely cover the token where I couldn't get within 3 inches of it and not be within an inch of him. So I would have sacrificed my cavalry to move it backwards, and then I would have got my guys within 3 inches as well with the Lorraine carrier, and then the Senegalese in that house, and the other inexperienced squad in the house. So it's going to be a draw. Because we don't finish, but I say, Paul, if you move out there, I can't stop you. So we just go to a draw. This was very much a chess match. Very enjoyable game to play against Paul. I'm looking forward to seeing him again. Hopefully, when we go to Adepticon, we're going to try to maybe make it to another event up in that area. It seems like a very strong bolt action community out that way in the Chicago area. And I've seen a lot of guys on Facebook. There's a couple guys I really like to play. I know Weekend General's having an event in the end of July, Early War, that I would really love to go to. I'm going to try to figure it out. I've been working on an Early War list. I've also been working on a couple other lists. I'm going to switch now that I've done this event, I'm going to probably switch back and maybe try Germans again and start prepping them up. They need a new paint job. That's the first army I ever painted. A lot of my guys need a new paint job. They need some basing work, and I'm looking forward to the new book coming out in the future. Then I'll be able to have my Germans ready to roll. I think what I'm thinking right now, before the new book comes out, some regular infantry and some anti-aircraft stuff. I really like the anti-aircraft things. No howitzers, no nothing like that. Kind of just completely change again. A couple assault rifles, a couple regular squads, some anti-aircraft, maybe an anti-aircraft vehicle. So I'm kind of excited to start that project. So alright, so that's a draw. So we're going into the last game. Very tight points, very tight points. I need a major to have a shot. So look forward to that. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like my videos, please hit that like button. I'd love it if you would subscribe as well. Just keep coming back. Either way, I like to put these videos for you. And speaking of that, questions or comments, put them in the box. It helps me know what you're thinking or what you want to know about. I'd love to talk bolt action, and I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can.